Hey Aquarius, what's going on? We're here with the Timeless reading. Welcome. The first two cards that we have out are Two of Swords and Seven of Swords. And Ten of Cups. And Five of Wands. There's blurred vision. That's what comes to mind immediately with Two of Swords and Seven of Swords. It feels like... So Two of Swords can be needing to see something or needing to decide something or needing to understand something, like that type of thing, where you can feel like you're not yet seeing things clearly. Seven of Swords can mean that not all the information is there. It feels just like an indication of like that's why you're at that point right now. Five of Wands is feeling like energy that's sort of scattered all over the place that's going to need to be used to get where you're trying to go. But right now it can feel a bit disorganized, kind of like, I know that I'm trying to get over there, but as far as the steps that I need to take to do that, what I need to do, the energy that I need, like that type of thing, can feel like that's not organized yet. That's what this is feeling like with Five of Wands and Three of Wands. Okay. So this thing that is the Two of Swords that feels like it's not allowing you to move forward because like not everything is there. It seems very much like there's about to be... Whatever was missing before, you're about to get that. So this can be an insight, it can be an information, it can be information, it can be an idea, it can be communication that was needed to clarify something or to speak on something that wasn't spoke on before. It can be that type of thing. I get this having to do with an assessment that you were trying to figure out. Like something that you were trying to weigh, something that you were trying to measure, something that you were trying to assess. But what I'm seeing is that like you didn't have like all the facts. Like not everything was there to be able to figure that out. That's what I'm seeing. In a way, even though you have to think about it, it also feels like something that you're emotionally involved within. As I say that, the Queen of Cups comes out, for sure. Okay. This looks like it has to do with like whether or not you feel happy with something or whether or not you feel good with something. Like, is that working for me? That type of thing. Is this where I'm supposed to be? That type of thing. You know? That could have been throwing you off. Like maybe that's why the Five of Wands was here. You could have been like scattered energy. Like, am I going there or am I going here? Like what's happening? It could have been like blurring the lines or like even blurring your vision a little bit here. You could have felt like something needed to be figured out or something needed to be organized in order to move forward, but I'm seeing that not be the case yet, but that's what's basically being worked on. Could have really thrown you off. It looks like there's an issue having to do with conflict, and confrontation can also be a part of this too. And then like what's gonna happen as this is being addressed because something isn't organized. You know, it can be like something that you have going on with yourself where you're moving in this direction and that direction and there's like a tug of war that's going on. It can be something going on with you and another person where you have stuff going on and they have stuff going on, and it feels like whatever this thing is that's not moving in a single direction or in the same direction, that it's being addressed. But there could have also been just some thoughts and feelings surrounding addressing this that could have put the word damper is coming through, put a damper on things. Seeing 9-9 here. So what's being worked out, the reason why something is being worked out, hopefully we get these sorts of results. What is the desire for the results to be? The desired result is about being able to like enjoy the position that you're in. And for those of you that another person is involved, enjoy the position that you're in with that person. You know, it can be like within the relationship, wanting to enjoy the position or wanting to enjoy this position that I'm in mentally and emotionally with myself. It can be that type of thing that's being figured out. Having 10 of Cups above Queen of Cups is feeling like a quandary that you're in where you're trying to figure something out about like what really resonates with you, you know, like what actually is it feels like the direction of greatest potential for you. Feeling content with something, feeling happy with something, feeling like it's enough, you know, those types of things, and that being figured out. Maybe too there's going to be like more of a sense of self-trust with you like able to do things in case there had been like some type of delay that had been happening, which like why would that have even been, you know? I wonder too for some of you if there was something that you weren't able to see. Having 2 of Swords and having 7 of Swords can be stuff that you're doing that's like sabotaging things but not seeing that yet or not realizing it yet. It can be like, oh, I didn't realize what my shadow was doing or what that type of thinking was doing. And it can, even just when it's like habits or like behavior or something like that, it can be, I hadn't realized how that was affecting other things, you know, like that type of thing. For some of you, this can also be the other person too, if there's another person. I am seeing 2 court cards here, so definitely can be that type of situation. But yeah, maybe something there wasn't like a totally forthcoming energy. Let me actually clarify what this 7 of Swords is. There could have been an avoidance about something because of like what that would mean then in looking at it. You know, like 2 of Swords plus 7 of Swords leading to 9 of Swords, and there can be a fear over like if this is confronted or if this is admitted to, what's then going to change? Like what's that going to do? It can be that type of thing. And yes, that can also be within ourselves too, you know. It can be like if I face this part of myself, what's going to happen then? Like this part of myself that maybe doesn't want to be called out. It can be like that type of thing. It can also include another person, yes, but just to give you all of the options of how this can be. Can you clarify a 7 of Swords? Yeah, anything that would be detracting from what you actually want. Anything that could be detracting from what you actually want. And this can be you not admitting things fully to yourself too. You know, it can be like thoughts that get in the way of that just because of a fear of change and what would happen then if you admitted that to yourself. That can also be part of this too. And this does feel, having Seven of Swords be above Six of Cups, I've been like reading Six of Cups lately. Six of Cups has different interpretations. A way that I've been seeing it lately is rather than Six of Pentacles, where that can be a type of reciprocity having to do with values, I've been seeing Six of Cups lately as being like emotional reciprocity that you could have with somebody. And Two of Swords and Six of Cups is like what's not being seen having to do with emotional reciprocity and what's sort of getting in the way of you being able to enjoy things. And it feels like there can maybe be something that's coming to light where maybe you hadn't been admitting something to yourself, or like maybe somebody hadn't been telling you like how they really felt about something, or there was like a missing piece. It can be like that type of thing. You know, it can be something that you weren't ready to admit to yourself because of a fear of like what the implications of that would mean. How would things change then? What would happen? And it feels like having a direct conversation with yourself about that. I also get something about like thoughts that would take you backwards, or even like behaviors or actions that would take you backwards rather than forward, and it can be all to avoid something even. Because this Knight of Swords is actually, it's going in a backwards direction, and it feels just like maybe not always realizing that at times, and that can be something that's coming up too. But especially in order to avoid things like this, feels all in avoidance of the Nine of Swords, which can be stuff that you're concerned about, you know, stuff that worries you, stuff that you're scared of. It can be like things that you do to avoid having to face those things, you know, like rather than having to address those things, anything that would be avoiding it. But then that also being the thing that's keeping you from enjoying things, of like things aren't how I want them to be because I keep avoiding this thing. Then I keep like going around in circles here, and that being what feels like a main theme here within the energy. And the whole time I'm seeing like this other part of you that is really seeking something and wanting to feel that sense of connection. And it feels like it feels like emotionally you being in one place and then mentally kind of being in another place, which is also something that's been coming up recently, like within the last maybe 3-ish readings that have been done. It feels like I've been seeing the Ten of Cups be coming out a lot, and there being a lot of things having to do with the theme of that, but then there being things mentally that are going on that are, it's like cross-contaminating things within the energy. I do feel like there's stuff that may be more obvious than you're realizing, but again, it's like, say you have the truth, but what's within the truth can also be something that you could be scared of. And so even though that truth is there, you have to move through the fear in order to actually see that. And this, your shadow being like, nope, I don't want to go over there. It's like easier to just like avoid that, but then not being able to see things clearly, like not being able to see the truth, and that being an issue because it's really keeping you from seeing how things are and being able to have things the way you want them to be even. And this can be something that's taking away from sort of a position that feels good for you to be in as well, keeping you away from that. Having judgment be on the bottom of the deck, this is about taking a look at all of this and figure out what's going on. Again, with Two of Swords and Seven of Swords, I do feel like the truth is available, but it can mean that there's something that you may have been avoiding that you need to actually look at in order to get that. And until that happens, you can feel conflicted about sort of what to do next with where things are going, like that whole thing. You can feel again like your energy is scattered. I want to be here and I want to be there, but I'm seeing like there's like one way that is in deep resonance with you, and there are other ways that are sort of these like false missions that you'd send yourself on that are coming through and be like, go this way, go that way, and it's actually just chaos. There's really only one really right way for you to move through this, but because of not being in that space of truth yet, it's why it feels like there's all this conflict going on, just as this is the process that's being worked out. You know, actually, something that can be fogging things too, to have Two of Swords and to have Six of Cups, this can be being blinded by something because you're familiar with it. Like, I'm used to this, and so I'm not really seeing the truth, or I'm familiar with this, or this is a habit or a pattern, or like I've just gotten comfortable with this person. It can be like that type of thing, or I've gotten comfortable doing things in this way, but then like not able to see this is actually reminding me of another reading that was done recently too. Having to do with things when we're so used to seeing something, like all of the assumptions that we make around it, but then having this feeling of like I'm uneasy, or like something's going on, or something's stirring within me, but I can't figure out what it is, but it's because of like needing that fresh perspective or new eyes to look at something. And maybe that's also part of this that's going on too with it. It can be not clearly assessing something, because then that would mean that some type of change would be there. And I think your shadow is like, change is bad, but your soul is like, no, but we need change because I don't like how this is and I want it to be different. And so that's actually the correct direction to be moving in. It's like that type of thing. And for some of you, this can be a big change within your life. For others of you, it would be a little change. It's not anything that's really big or anything like that. Really just depends on your situation, but it feels very much like this is sort of the key to you being where you want to be, and you can feel like you're not totally there right now, and that's why you even feel motivated to assess this in the first place, like why any of this is coming up in the first place. But yeah, there can be a part of you that's just been it feels like denial, Two of Swords and Seven of Swords. And what this can also mean, Two of Swords and Seven of Swords can mean procrastinating on something. It can mean not making a decision and then staying stuck within this. Again, like to avoid the change that would happen, or to avoid having to address something or confront something, confront conflict that's obviously there. Because like Five of Wands is there, something has to be worked out. It's kind of like avoiding that altogether, but then not being able to break through it at all. So just staying there, sitting with that, and knowing that there's conflict, and then not sort of moving that way. And it can even have you being like concerned with things that don't even have to do with this situation. Like just digging up stuff that is not going to actively help this in any way. That can also be part of this too. It feels like your shadow being like, focus on that thing over there, and it's like all to keep avoiding this thing. So there can be conversations that are being had, there can be things that are being done, moves that are being made, like thoughts that are being formed that are just stuff that will take you further and further and further backwards, and it can be taking you again like further away from this thing that just needs to be confronted. It just needs to be addressed. But there's definitely this feeling of fear hanging around it, of what happens if this is addressed then. which is like the key to things coming together. But at the same time, there can be this feeling of, or even this like belief system of change being a bad thing, even if it's not always a conscious understanding that we have. It can sort of be an underlying theme here. So that can be part of this too, the choice between what's familiar but you feel unsettled about it versus, or there's some type of conflict about it, versus what's unfamiliar but could be the type of change that you would actually want to be within, like that type of thing. And this all coming under the theme of what is right for me, like that type of thing. It feels like it's all connected with 10 of Cups and Queen of Cups. So that will be like what you will ultimately feel happy with, like what will feel good with you. You being in a position where you're like, okay, I feel settled now, like that type of thing, you know? Or I like the way that things are, or I feel like I want to be present for this because this feels good, you know? This feels right. I feel just connected, rather than that sense of feeling disconnected, feeling apathetic, you know, those types of things. And wanting to be within something too that feels just like emotionally and soulfully sustainable, and that being part of this too. Okay, anything else? I think an attachment to like familiarity, not that that is just for the, basically the way that it impacts things in this particular setting, it can not be allowing you to see that there are other possibilities that would work even better. Like the way that I'm seeing this is that 10 of Cups is looming overhead of the Queen of Cups, and that's going to be you in a heart space, like you in a feeling space. And then Queen of Cups is reaching back towards the Six of Cups, which feels like this thing that may even be like moving away from you, trying to chase that. It feels like chasing something nostalgic. And it feels like going after the Six of Cups rather than going after, or like allowing even, the 10 of Cups. And it feels like Six of Cups is a thing of the past too with this. It feels like limiting too, like that being a limitation. Because things can be even better than that now, rather than chasing something that feels just out of reach, but also like belongs to the past. So it feels like, it feels almost like missing that obvious thing that's right there. It's just like a plane above you. It's like that type of thing. Because the way Queen of Cups is facing is reaching towards this thing that's like a fleeting thing of the past. The 10 of Cups being right there, so it feels like it's presently available. And then if you look to the future, there's like that fear staring you down, like that type of thing. And this character being like in between those two things. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.